have no idea when you're good. See, I know when you're good. And I want that tape. And so the idea that there's something that can be less than whole, less than perfect, less than complete was so entrenched in me that I just had too much judgment on how I approach it. And so there's a story about getting past that once again. And so, Jesus gets the Hosanna, Hosanna. But then later on, the guy's on the cross and he's being crucified by the same authority.
Yes.
And so this is about knowing that, the same thing that can make you laugh will make you cry. You understand that the blessings are contained in all of these things, that there's no such thing as a bad opportunity. Every opportunity is the same opportunity when you recognize who you are and what your relationship is. And so you approach everything fully, leading with your innocence. Once again, your open arms. And so, the story talks about there were two thieves crucified beside Jesus on either side. And the two thieves recommend lack and limitation, duality, pestilence, all of these things. And he talked about this day you'll be with me in paradise, meaning even though you're in this condition, you are still whole, perfect, and complete. It doesn't matter what you've done. Some of us have shame issues. It doesn't matter. Some of us feel guilty. It doesn't matter how bad we feel about ourselves. What we want to know is there's a relationship that transcends my idea of who I am. And I have every opportunity to open myself. And that's how we get there. We open ourselves. And how do we open ourselves? We make ourselves vulnerable. We have to be willing to trust that the universe is present and living and breathing for us beyond our fear, beyond our anger, beyond our sense of separation and lack and not enoughness, that there's a golden path, if you will, that there's an idea, this idea called heaven is a state of consciousness that begins to dawn on us as we challenge our fears and move past them, because we begin to recognize that what we fear the most, what we fear is a gateway to our greatness. And what I'm talking about is on the other side of the fear is something great waiting for it to happen. And the reason I get ready for it, the how I get ready for it, is like we put a seed in the ground and it might look like, the seed's getting buried and it's disappearing. When you put a seed in the ground, it's like, where'd it go? It's gone. But it's not gone. There's no such thing as gone. The seed needs the darkness to do what it does. We need darkness in our lives so that we can germinate the most perfect part of ourselves, because in that dark place, we are forced to focus like no other time before. It's something about hard times that make us focus. That's just the truth, If somebody cracks you across the face like somebody did me one day, guess what? I was paying absolute attention. What the heck was that about? And so we begin to not just move through adversity and circumstance in our lives, we begin to seek them out, because we recognize on the other side of whatever this fear is, whatever this separation is, there's something great and wonderful waiting for me, but I'm not strong enough, I'm not wise enough, I'm not bright enough, I'm not able to hold that blessing right here and right now. But the energy it takes for me to move through my fear, like the chicken or any bird that's pecking through an egg, the energy it takes for that bird to peck through the egg allows its neck to get strong enough so that when it's born, it can stand upright. Because it's stuck in the this was like in the, for all this time it's been like this. If you crack the egg and let them out, they're just going to go like they can't live. And so there has to be a struggle. Struggle is part of the life. Do not avoid struggle. You look at struggle as a divine opportunity to deepen your roots and stretch higher into the heavens and allow the blessings of the universe to flow through you unfettered, because I'm not afraid of struggle or hardship anymore, because I don't see them as that anymore. I see them as great expectations and opportunities. I'm willing to weather the storm, because what's on the other side of it is the rest of my glory, the rest of my story, the rest of the idea of my wholeness, completeness, and perfection. And so when we're talking about the blossom of transcendence, I'm talking about going beyond circumstance. I did a thing I talked about, what was that, hope. It's just like, that hope it has no concrete evidence. Hope is just, I'm just here thinking that maybe it'll get better. I don't have anything to think about how it's going to get better. I just think maybe it might get better. I hope it doesn't go. I pray it won't get worse. And faith is when we have a little bit more, because faith has a substance of hope. So we've taken the hope and we've decided to use it as something different. And so the hope that we have now becomes a thing that we fashion into something we call faith. But beyond faith, there's a recognition of knowing, which means I've taken my faith and I've now been practicing this idea that I said I have faith in enough that I'm beginning to have a relationship with it that talks about about knowing. And since I have a relationship of knowing, I have a certain authority over my life right now. And this is what happens to many of us on our path to spiritual understanding and spiritual righteousness, if you will, the right use of ourselves. We begin to feel the evolution of our spiritual self beginning to unearth itself, beginning to unearth the civilizations of our lack and limitation, and bring all those imposters into the light so that we can see all the places I've been hurt, all the places I've been damaged, all the times I've been angry. Everything that ever happened to me is supporting the spot that I'm standing on right now, and I've gathered strength from each and every one of these, and I'm willing to move through this circumstance just as I got stronger when I moved through all these other things. I know I'm going to get stronger through this. And Michael Beckwith has a thing. He says, well, he says you get pushed by the pain until you're pulled by the vision. Pushed by the pain until pulled. Can you say that? Pushed by the pain until pulled by the vision. Pushed by the pain until pulled by the vision. Pushed by the pain until pulled by the vision. And I said, yeah, Michael, yeah. Well, it's easy for me to go, yeah, because I didn't have the vision. And I didn't want to realize that I'm being pushed by the pain, but I'm being pushed by the pain. That's not a bad thing. The pain is moving me where I need to go. I just want it not to be painful. But it can't be unpainful, Muwata, because you're still in resistance to the idea that you are whole, perfect, and complete. And the way your resistance is showing up, Muwata, you have issues with people. Now, I don't know anybody else in here might have that circumstance. So I began, because of my studies, because of this thing, I have this wonderful job where I get up here every week and tell the truth, and I can't keep telling the truth without the truth bouncing back to me, and the cosmic boomerang is whooping my butt. Like, dang. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to speak about the thing that you know about. It's a beautiful thing to have a spiritual community where people know and love you and recognize the truth about you. It's a beautiful thing to have some place where you can go and experience a place where you're not being judged, where people are accepting you. And if they have an issue with you, they ought to have enough sense. I don't want to go to all, but there's the opportunity for them to have enough sense to know whatever issues I have with anybody in this room starts with me. And if I can just get my idea of lack, limitation, and fear and separation off the table will be clean enough for us to have a wonderful and bountiful relationship. And so we continue to work on ourselves and forgive, because forgiveness is the act of loving past our fear. And as we begin to live our life from the knowing, we begin to manifest things. We start to see, wow, this law of attraction thing, I can do this. And we start to manipulate the law to our advantage. And we're like, yeah, this stuff works. And we get straight a little bit because I can demonstrate whatever I want. I can manifest whatever I want. And so there's a nice place right there. But we're still stuck in the acquisition of things as an expression of our faith, as an expression of our knowing. But there's something beyond that. What was that Rumi said? Beyond the field of right and wrong. Isn't that wrongdoing and right doing? There's a field, and I'll meet you. This is what I'm talking about. That when we get past the field of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a place, there's an energy, there's a force, there's an activity that when we enter into this realm, everything begins to dissolve. And this is why it's been called heaven, because when it dissolves, all the conflicts dissolve. That doesn't mean conflicts aren't happening, but it dissolves in my consciousness because I recognize even the conflicts as an opportunity for me to grow deeper in my life with my truth and my faith, and I can use that in such a fashion that everything I do is enhanced by the buoyancy of the spiritual consciousness that I'm cultivating as I move through the hardships of my life. It gets to the point that I decide, I'm just tired of fooling around with this, and sometimes I just see myself as a phoenix bird, and I gather all my pain, all of my rage, all of my frustration, all of my lack, and all of my limitations, and I strike it on fire. And I want to build a fire so, I want to build my fire so hot that all the dross in my consciousness burns away, and the only thing left is a shimmering example of the holy presence that I am. And I begin to live and breathe and have my being from the place of knowing that this is who I am, even when I can't see it. This is what I am, even when I don't feel it. This is what's going on within me. This is the relationship that I'm having, and I'm not concerned about what's happening around me, because I'm concerned about what's happening within me, because I know what's happening within me is what's affecting outside of me. That's the law of correspondence correspondent as within, so without. And so I continue to work on myself and affect change in the world as I affect change within myself. And the reason I know I'm affecting change in the world, because my consciousness is part of the collective pool of consciousness. And like everybody else is putting their rage and their fear, and that's what's happening in the world. We're experiencing the collective rage of one another. We believe in rage. We believe in fear. We believe in lack. We believe in war. We believe in the wrong president. We believe in these things. We believe in conspiracies. If we did not believe in them, we would not have experienced them. So there had been no place in my consciousness to go. You know, you never got told that there was a boogeyman that was going to get you at night. You never had a problem going to sleep at night. But man, if they told you there's a boogeyman that's going to get you when you go to sleep at night, you know, you get to be an adult, and every now and then, what was that? What was that? What was that? Yeah. Because it's in there. It's in there, people. You understand what I'm saying? And so we get to this place where we're willing to be the presence of God. This is the transcendent space that I'm talking about. And it's like the flower of my being is completely open, and I'm releasing the pollen of my love and my truth and my faith and my bounty and understanding of wholeness out into the universe for all to be bask in. And you know, it reminds me of the poppy fields, you know, in China, wherever they are. And they talk about how, you know, you can be at the field, the wind will blow, and that euphoric state comes because the poppies are hallucinogenic in a way, and even though you're not touching the flowers, you feel the essence of the flowers being released into the atmosphere. And we begin to understand that that's the relationship that we have. That I have the ability to release the essence of myself, the innocence of myself, into the atmosphere, into the collective consciousness, and that I am healing the presence, healing the planet by the relationship that I'm having with myself. This is the blossom of transcendence, the willingness to open myself in such a fashion that whatever needs to happen, even as each flower attracts the insect it needs to spread its pollen throughout, I am attracting everything necessary to release the unconditional love that I am and heal this space. Tiny Tim said, God bless us, everyone. And this is my mantra. And I know this is making a difference. And I'm grateful that each and every one here is knowing this at the same time. And thank you for being part of this.